My very special guest on Hello Darlink is 2020 Momentum Visionary Woman of the Year, Cynthia Wright. Woman with a clear vision and drive to create a better world while inspiring others to do the same. Starting from nothing herself, she has worked hard to become the woman she is today, and now she has a passion for creating leaders and for empowering people to live their better lives. She's here today to share her vision and story with us. Hello, darling. Welcome to the show.
Hello, darling. Thank you.
Cynthia, congratulations. How does it
Thank you
feel
very much.
to be Visionary Woman of the Year?
It's an honor for me, Barbara. I always say awards is not about because you're the best of the best. It's something that it's a job that we all do in terms of changing this world. But when you get awarded as a visionary woman of the world, because there's so many amazing women out there doing amazing things, it just means that you did it better. So for me, it's an honor to get that. And it also means that I can't take my foot off the accelerator. I have to keep pressing on and keep doing more. And I hope that me receiving this award is also going to inspire more women to do more and to become more and to do more amazing work out there in the world. So it's an award that I'm receiving on behalf of the many women out there who are creating waves, who are doing amazing things for generations to come.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cynthia, for
That's
that.
all right, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background?
So my background, I come from Zambia. So I was born in Zambia, Southern Africa. I migrated to Australia as an international student. So I came to study in 2006. So I landed on the, I almost say the grounds of Perth in 2006, and I did nursing as my undergrad. And I worked as a nurse for a little bit. But I was very unhappy in my position because I was frustrated with the fact that I was not in a position where I could create change. So very quickly, and as you know, and this is what we talk about all the time, is that when you want to create change, change is not created by opinions. Mm-hmm. It's created by actions.
Yes.
So it's very important to position yourself in a place where you can actually create change. So I had to do that in my career, and I knew that for me to do that, I had to go and be in a management position where I could have influence over policy, eventually maybe legislation as well. So I went back to uni, did some more studies. I did a postgraduate in occupational health, came back, did some work in management, and I quickly discovered that it was not just about me developing and climbing the corporate ladder higher. It was also about the people that I took with me. So in my roles, in everything that I've done, I've always had a social responsibility where I don't want anyone to work under me for more than 5 years in the same position. I've got a responsibility to make sure that I can help them get to the next level. So if I'm getting up to the next level, the people that I'm working with need to get up with me, because that way we are creating the power of 10. Can you imagine if we had 10 Oprahs, 10 Barack Obamas, 10 Chimamandas, 10 Beyoncés? We need to have that approach where if you are gifted in a certain area and you are good at it, find a way that you can pass on the knowledge.
Question. When
Yes.
you arrived here in the age of
19.
19.
19, yes.
What was your first impression of Australia? And did you travel internationally before?
No. So my first flight was to come here. My first time on a plane was to come to Australia. And when I arrived in Australia, I was like, oh my God, this place is white. Culture shock, because I've never seen so
Yes.
many white people in my life. Because coming from Zambia, yes, we did have, expatriates working, but it was a lot of white people. And the first thought that came to mind was, am I going to be understood?
Wow.
That was the first thought that came to mind, because it's very important to be understood.
And
Yes.
Were you understood?
I was understood.
Did you feel any kind of resentment because of your background? Did you come across?
I did experience. I think I'll be lying if I said I did not experience some subtle, I call it subtle racism. I did experience that, but I've always said it's how you react to it.
And how did you react?
I did not overreact. I think I took time to think about why people would act that way. Because a lot of the time people would do that to you because they are uninformed. Mm-hmm. And I felt earlier on that it was important for me to tell my story.
Yes.
To tell my narrative of where I came from, of who I am. Because when people understand who you are, it is easier for them to know how to treat you and how you want to be treated because you communicate that.
Yes, I understand. And what do you think is the most important change that you have made so far in working with what you're working? You also published a book. Can you tell me about the book that you published?
I think the biggest change for me is I've had the opportunity to use my voice to empower people, not just women, not just migrant people, not just people of color, but people as a whole, to encourage them to tell their stories, to share their stories so that we can be more understood as a human race, so we can respect each other and honor each other and bring authenticity to the table each time we meet new people. So my book is about leadership and purpose. It's called The Purposeful Leader. And the reason why I combined the two was because when you're in a position of leadership, and this is something I learned, when you're in a position of leadership, it's very important to know your why you are in that position, why you're leading what you're leading or who you're leading. And sometimes you don't have to be a leader in a corporation or an organization. It can be you leading your children at home or leading yourself, because we know that sometimes it's hard for us to act right. So I've combined the two, purpose and leadership, knowing how we can move that which has been given to us forward, knowing why we are doing that.
Today's event that you received your award is in support of Kiss Violence Against Women Goodbye. What's your message to empower women? How do you empower yourself? How do you empower women? Women that will be watching us today and thinking, oh, she's so brave. She's so clever, but I'm not. How would you give them encouragement to find their strengths?
I would say courage. Give yourself, it doesn't matter what your background is, what you've gone through, what you haven't gone through, what you've experienced. Give yourself permission to succeed. And a lot of that permission comes from, number one, forgive the people that have hurt you in the past. Because the beauty about forgiving is that you then don't carry a burden of hate. Because the burden of hate is going to draw you back. And for us to succeed, we need each other. We need each other to be lighter. We need each other to be able to carry love and acceptance. And I know people might sit there and think, oh, it's not easy. You know, you don't know what I've gone through. I know I don't know what you've gone through. But if you want to go ahead and move forward and succeed and inspire more other women to walk your journey and succeed, you need to give yourself permission to succeed. And some of that permission means forgiving the past, forgetting the past, stop looking backwards, because every time you look backward, you are not giving yourself the opportunity to face the present. Because every present presents itself with a gift.
And Cynthia, what was the hardest decision you ever made in life?
Wow, that's a big question, Barbara. That's a big question. I think the hardest decision that I had to make in my life was to not feel entitled as a migrant woman, as a woman from a minority background, that I deserved to be recognized for being different. I had to make a decision to earn my position in everything that I've done. It's one thing to raise up your hand and say, you need a woman of color on your board, I'm here. It's another thing to earn your position because you've worked for it. So the decision that I had to make earlier on was to stop seeing myself as a person who's entitled to have A, B, and C because of my skin color or my differences, but a person who's going to work hard and earn her position to sit at a table with different people or to create her own table.
So would you say that you sometimes have to work harder because of your ethnic background?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you shift from your comfort zone, for me, the comfort zone was where I was brought up. Zambia was my comfort zone. And over there, because that was my home, I didn't really feel I had to work extra harder. But anytime you shift from your comfort zone to a new place, you have to work harder. It doesn't matter whether you are black, brown, orange, yellow. You are shifting from where you are comfortable to where you are uncomfortable. You have to work extra harder.
So you're very dedicated to improve people's lives.
Yes.
Empowering women, empowering leaders, creating leaders,
Yes.
showing the leaders how to create better leadership. Yes?
Yes.
You also have a project about affordable housing.
Yes.
Can you tell me something
So
about
that's very close to my heart. That's very close to my heart. So with the current project that I'm working on with a team of, so we've got an architect who's based in Perth, and we've got a research team that's based in London. So I think this is something that I mentioned in my speech today to say I reached a point where my success stopped being about me. It was about the people that I represented. And I've always had a burden on my shoulder about the African people because that's where I'm from. That's my root. Mm-hmm. And I cannot ignore the challenges that are on the continent. So every time I look at those challenges, I look at how can I be part of the solution? There's always going to be adversity, there's always going to be problems, but I think it's important for us to see what we can do to help. So the affordable housing project is, I'll just bring some statistics. Currently in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, we have approximately 50.7 million affordable housing deficit.
Wow.
And that keeps rising, and with COVID, we saw that has risen even higher.
Yeah.
So for us in our project, what we are trying to do or going to achieve, I need to speak and affirm this, is we are building sustainable housing, affordable sustainable housing, especially for women. I'm passionate about women having tenure of housing because around the world, only 30% of women own land.
Yes.
And when we describe affordability, we are looking at creating something, a house, a 3-bedroom by 2-bathroom house with $24,000 US, around that mark approximately.
Wonderful.
And then being able then to cater for low-income earners or for entrepreneurs who are marketeers or small-scale farmers to be able to have a roof over their head. But the reason why this is so important to us is we're working with an Australian company that we are partnering with. So then we are bringing what we have learned here,
Yes.
some of the resources that we have learned here and earned here, mixing it from where we come from and working together to solve a problem.
Yes.
And when you give someone a shelter over their head, you're automatically looking after their mental health, you're looking after their health, you're giving them sanitation, clean water, and that gives me so much joy because what we are doing is we're finding a solution to an existing problem. And you know what? We're not going to be able to solve the entire deficit, but whatever that we can do to help is enough.
And what's your view on giving women some kind of encouragement to kiss violence against women goodbye? Why this problem is so huge worldwide, not only Australia, and actually is now increasing because of the COVID and everything. What's your idea? How can we reduce it? How can we try to make a difference?
It's a very sad situation with everything that's happening, especially with the statistics that have come out of COVID, the impact it has had on domestic violence, and the numbers keep increasing. And my idea towards how we can approach it is, I think we need to look at a more preventative approach,
Yeah.
so that we don't become, because we have become such a reactive society. We are only coming to act on it after the fact. So after it has happened, that's when we want now to bring in the justice system, and we want to bring in the mental health system. But then I think we need to create strategies on how we can look at it from a preventative issue, to find out, why is this about to happen?
Yes.
So it's things to do sometimes with drugs and alcohol, yes, mental health. There's a lot of sensitizations we need to do. And I think it has to start from the grassroots. And it has to start from the high schools, from where we start seeing some of these behaviors coming in from young people, starting to educate them from the bottom up. And this is not just about women. Domestic violence is not just about women, it's also about men.
Of course.
So we need to look at solving that as well. But it's a massive global problem. But I think we need to innovate something more preventative, so we can become less of a reactive society.
Whom did you look up to as a young girl before you became Cynthia Wright? That is the woman today. Who was did you have a vision living in Zambia that one day you're going to be successful published author, visionary woman living in white Australia?
Growing up, we had times when we would watch TV, and I knew that I really wanted to speak.
Yes.
You know, I think that gift was embedded in me from a young child, and I would always watch the Oprah Winfrey Show, and I loved the way she held the room.
Yes.
And throughout growing up, I always thought I would have the courage to stand up and speak to an audience and hold the room, and people will listen because I've got something to say, not because anyone can say anything, but I always searched for something worthy to say. So yeah, so I'd say that's who I looked up to, the ability to use your voice to empower others and to change someone's day by what you put out, the energy you put out in the world. I think for me that's important. Yes.
So if I was to say, what's your best advice to give to people watching us today? Not just women, but of course I'm very empowered about empowering women because of the cause we support.
Yeah.
But what will be your best advice if I have to ask you?
I think my advice has always been and will be for a very, very long time. Listen to the conversations you are having in your head about yourself. Because at the end of the day, there's so much noise in the world, and sometimes some people have grown up with listening to other people's voices, whether it's parents or it's friends or it's peers or it's social media. But number one is you need to listen to your inner voice. What are you saying about you? Because that's all that matters. And then when you correct that conversation about yourself, because you can only you can do that.
Yes.
When you correct that conversation about yourself, then start searching for your purpose. Find your gifts and talents, utilize them, and find what you're passionate about. I've just finished doing a workbook on finding your purpose, and that's going to be available tomorrow, actually, because the feedback that I got from my book was, how do I find my purpose?
Yes.
I've been looking for my purpose.
Yes.
How do I find it? So my team and I went through doing a workbook that actually, when you finish the workbook, it should help you find your purpose, or at least draw you closer to your purpose. So I would say, search for your God-given gifts and talents. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? And then how does it make you feel when you do that? And the second question is, what impact does it give the people that are watching you do that, or who you're doing it for? And then how does it make you feel to watch that impact? So after you do that, then you look at, what are you passionate about? Is it music? Is it writing? And then you start it's sort of like a self-reflection where you have to give yourself time to discover yourself. This can't be done with too much noise in the background. You need to be able to give yourself enough time to do this. But I'm very happy, and I'm sure we can share the link to people that are searching for their purpose. And I hope I can help them, because this is what I do. And I love it when a person reaches that stage where they say, I feel like I found my purpose in life. And it's not a race. There's no age to it. You can find your purpose when you're 18, when you're 50, when you're 70. It doesn't matter. When you find it, use it. That's what's important. Do not sit on your purpose.
So do you believe that finding purpose is a tool to find happiness?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you can find the reason why you're doing what you're doing, why are you doing Hello Darling? Why are you waking up this morning? Why are you happy? Why are you smiling? When you know why you're doing what you're doing, it makes you feel fulfilled. So it is a key to happiness. It's a key to happiness, yeah.
Cynthia, darling, if I was to give you now a magic wand, and the magic wand has two wishes, one for yourself and one for the world, what would be your wish?
I think one for myself. Should I start with myself? Let me start with the world.
Okay.
Let me be kind to myself. I think one for the world is, let's be kind to each other. Let's find enough love within ourselves to give love to others. Because everything that we are doing, everything we've spoken about without love, it's meaningless. And we need more love in this world. The magic wand for myself would be that I do the same. Because sometimes, and I think a lot of people who are where I'm at and who do similar to what I do, they would attest to this, that it's a lonely place sometimes.
Yes.
Because not everyone understands why you're doing what you're doing and where you're going. So for myself, it's about every day finding the courage to continue doing my work, to continue having enough energy so that I can produce enough love and knowledge to give and to help others.
Cynthia, I think I wish you all the wishes to come true.
Thank you. Me too.
And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And for your vision.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the time.